Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the table. As I often say, glad you're here. Those of you who are my subscribers, I appreciate you so much. And my members, like triple, quadruple that. I really do appreciate your support for the channel. And if you're interested in becoming a member, you can check out the playlist. You can't watch what's on there, but there is a playlist on the menu where you can see the kinds of topics that I cover specifically for members. And I also host a live private Zoom meeting once a month, the first Sunday of the month, usually for members only. So those are sort of some bonus things you might want to think about if you want to get connected. I'd love to have you a part of the tribe. And otherwise, just thank you for being here and being a part of a larger community. I really do appreciate it and try to make it worth your while. All right. Speaking of that, let's start out with another chuckle. There was a thing on social media yesterday that said John Ossoff, who kind of got the ball rolling around Natalie Harp, right? The White House, went ballistic when John Ossoff came out and made that remark about Natalie Harp, and the two of them, her and Trump, traveling together. So they said now John Ossoff is to be credited with taking charge of large missing persons cases in the United States, because lo and behold, here comes Trump and Melania clutching hands, trotting her out of nowhere, out of the abyss, to make an appearance yesterday. Like, timing of that was clearly obvious. And then there were so many memes on social media, some of you may have seen, with they were basically showing, like Natalie somewhere in the White House flipping tables and tearing up a room, just having a fit, because she was nowhere to be found. I think that was something that, Melania probably said, like, look, I'll do this with you, but you got to stash old girl somewhere else. So anyway, that was that situation is going to continue to unfold. I think the security clearance situation around her, like, what is that all about? But anyway, more embarrassment and fodder for what, when I looked at that situation the other day, it's just causing even more tension within the White House and the cabinet and aides, etc., who are fleeing, one by one, like truly a house of cards coming down. So anyway, that's a chuckle. The other thing, I don't even know that I need to read on it, but I know it made a lot of us kind of raise eyebrows. Like, what was that Trump's appearance on Michael Cohen's podcast really about? uh, Cohen apparently thought it was going to boost his ratings and show that he is still a force to be reckoned with in in politics in general, certainly conservative politics. Didn't work, backfired on him. Trump got on there and just essentially, mumbled some stuff, didn't answer questions. No surprise. But what I got from that, you all, essentially was that it was an opportunity for Trump to check Cohen. The one thing he said is, yeah, well, you've recanted everything you ever said about me. You've admitted that it was all lies, right? And so we know how important that is to Trump, by all measures, nothing that is said about me that's bad, you got to apologize for that. And that's what Cohen did, calling him boss and calling him sir. And nah, Cohen, he's not going anywhere. And if his intention was to try and catapult his career, not just with his podcast, the success of his podcast, but angling for getting back in, like really being an insider in Trump's orbit, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So we can move on from that. Now, haven't seen a lot of coverage around this. And when I saw something, I went and started digging. This is interesting, you all. Why was J.D. Vance at a fundraiser with none other than Tucker Carlson in the Hamptons on Wednesday, where they had a fundraiser? He got like something like $5 million from only 35 donors, young, wealthy, conservative voters. Remember, ever since Charlie Kirk passed, that has been a part of J.D. Vance's agenda, is to maintain and hold on to the younger GOP party. Here's where I'm going. Is this signaling a serious split between JD and Trump? because JD's got his eyes on 2028, maybe sooner, right? If he gets in, and we hear, should he get in, there's going to be an impeachment. But let's park that for a moment. I'm looking at this growing sense of betrayal, where JD is breaking from Trump, and come to find out, MAGA is losing its mind, because the backer of this fundraiser in the Hamptons is some guy named Omid Malik. I hadn't heard of him. Omid Malik. He is the president of 1789 Capital. Who helps run and invested in 1789 Capital? None other than Don Jr. The MAGA movement, or MAGA conservatives, the money, the donor class even, is ticked off because this Omid Malik is from Iranian and Pakistani descent. So they're going off about, whoa, JD, are you really getting ready to tick off Israel and separate yourself from Israel and AIPAC and all of that big money, because you starting to go over in this Palestinian, he's Iranian mother, Pakistani father, this Omid Malik, all right? So Omid Malik, Don Jr., co-folk running this 1789 Capital. JD shows up with Tucker Carlson, who headlines and does this fundraiser. Spirit. I needed to set that stage for us, right? Spirit. Is JD Vance separating himself from the Israel component of the MAGA movement, or the conservative base, the money class, and going with, he's thinking about it, two of swords at the bottom. He's conflicted because he wants his cake and eat it too. He wants to continue to be seen as a loyalist to Trump, but at the same time, Tucker Carlson, who, remember, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene, officially came out, I think it was in June, and said, we're not down with the Republican Party anymore. We don't know who we're with, but we ain't down with the Republican Party anymore. Ace of Cups, yes. JD sees an opportunity here. He knows that the traditional, if we want to call it that anymore, GOP party is in shambles, and it's going to continue to go downhill. The fool, thank you, Spirit, absolutely. JD's making a break for it, y'all, and he's trying to be slick and sly about it. Of course, he's got to be, and not be too obvious with it. But he's looking at a new, what he sees as the writing on the wall with whatever's going to become of the GOP party. He wants that young, wealthy vote. Two of Wands looking forward. He is literally breaking from Trump and breaking from Israel. Am I right about that, Spirit? Does he understand? Is he looking at, look, I'm going to go wherever I need to go? He's making an assessment, Seven of Pentacles. He's looking at, and Pentacles. He's looking at, okay, you know what? AIPAC and these other, dark money, Israeli focused entities are not the only place to get money. And so Don Jr., Spirit, is Don Jr. kind of backstabbing Trump? Is he backstabbing his father and looking out for himself, like self-preservation? Six of Swords. Not outright, but he's looking long game as well. He's like, look, I don't know how long Daddy Dearest is going to be around here. The extent to which all of us are hearing, it's being put out there, point blank period. When Congress shifts, these subpoenas are coming, Don, and the poly market situation and all the other situations, right? So Don Jr. is sitting in the background, and remember, thank you, Spirit, and remember as well, who is it that put JD's name on the table when Trump was canvassing for a vice presidential running mate? None other than Don Jr. We're told that Don Jr. was the one who swayed Trump to choose JD. So JD and Don Jr. are apparently still really cool. Tucker Carlson, as this now, outsider carving his mark, is now appearing with JD. 10 of Cups. because they are rallying. Ten of Cups is a, for those of you who don't read tarot, Ten of Cups is a really interesting, normally a really joyful card. Families, bringing people together, domestic issues, way of life, Christian movement. That's where JD is going. Again, trying to sort of stay in touch with that contingent that Charlie Kirk had amassed with Turning Point USA, the young family Christian, far right Christian thing. Tucker Carlson's all about that. Now, Spirit, here's where I want to go from there. The never been done before. In a few weeks, September 9th and 10th in Dallas, the RNC is hosting its first ever midterm convention, RNC convention, right? Headlining that convention, 2 nights, September 9th and 10th in Dallas. First night is JD Vance, second night is Frump. With this messaging, Vance positioning himself to separate himself from Frump's agenda, especially trying to, the whole Israel, I'm making buddies where the money is, and if the money's with Muslim backers, I'll go that way. The more progressive arm of this new GOP that he is trying to form, apparently with Tucker Carlson. Spirit, is it going to be a shite show in Dallas, September 9th and 10th? Or is it going to be the writing on the wall? Is it going to be evident? Is JD going to swing for the fences in making some statements that show the moon? He's worried about it. He's worried because in that audience, a lot of it's supposed to be a rally and candidate, showing off the candidates, right? For this event. A lot of congressional folks, they'll still be on break, but they are also, from what I understand, trying to hand out tickets to the public just to get people in the seats, right? Like they're having a public lottery for those who want to come. JD, here comes the world. He is somehow, some way going to slip in more of his ideas to go forward, and global, a lot of emphasis on global issues. So yeah, the Iran war, but also the whole trying to recapture the America First promise that caused people like Tucker Carlson and Marjorie, and the idea that people are hurting. He sees JD is going to make a splash, and I don't think a good splash, but he's going to swing for the fences, you all, at this convention. And what Spirit is saying is there's going to be some sort of stark contrast in between, JD just getting on there as a complete loyalist. Whatever Frump says, yeah, he's going to speak that language, but he's also coming out with something that says, I know that you all are hurting. I know that what you believed Frump was going to do for us ain't happening. I know that it is time for us to turn the table and go in a new direction. Y'all, it's going to be a lot of drama coming out of that, out of the so-called midterm convention. Ooh, okay. Let me put the deck down gently because Spirit just gave us the tower. All right. So of course we'll look more at that a little bit later as we get closer to that event. And the media's not talking about it. And maybe many of you hadn't even heard about it. Never been done before. RNC midterm convention. All right. JD's getting ready to do some things, and it's going to be really interesting to see the outcome from that. All right. The other thing, two more things real quick. DNC filed a lawsuit around the against the DOJ around its plans, Freedom of Information Act, around its plans to seize ballots, or potential plans to seize ballots, seize voting machines before the votes can be certified, right? We're like, any possible scenario need to be prepared for. So, interestingly, the DNC got out ahead of it and said, okay, you know what? We ain't even waiting until the election, which when I've done readings on it, I saw a lot of stuff ending up in the courts. no surprise there. Like, that's not even psychic, right? Like, we know that's going to happen. But this soon, like, okay, let's be proactive and let's go ahead. So this case was filed in the circuit court in DC. Spirit, this lawsuit by the DNC, is this going to be effective in putting on some safeguards and guardrails to protect the ballots, the midterm ballots? Is this going to be successful to protect the ballots? We have the Eight of Swords. So it was filed in response to heightened concerns, clearly, around and fears around what will be done. A la Fulton County, having federal agents go in and just start seizing ballots and seizing machines the minute the vote is over, before anything can even be tabulated. That's the Eight of Swords, concerns around that. Spirit, will this lawsuit help protect the ballots? Because now they've been put on notice. Ooh, 2 cards just came. Ace of Wands and the King of Swords. Yes. King of Swords, I feel that's whoever is the main attorneys that filed the lawsuit on behalf of the Democratic National Committee, and the Ace of Wands. Very proactive, very smart move, very timely that they didn't wait until everything goes ballistic. They're getting out in front of it. They're anticipating it. Will the votes be protected, Spirit? And the Empress comes. Yes, my friends. And I have felt that for a while, and I've read on that, and hopefully a lot of you feel the same way. Intuitively you're getting that. Yes. And this is widespread. This is abundance. This is growth. This is Venus. This is the Democratic National Committee. This is a national effort. I have read before, we're talking about states' attorneys generals, clearly election officials, and I'm also getting, if necessary, will there be protective measures put in place by states, like their own National Guard, their own police force, watchers, poll watchers. Wheel of Fortune. Deck is hot today. I'm reading in case you can't see this. This is the Super Lunaris Tarot. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. So this 1,000, we heard a couple, this past week, 1,000 election oversight folk from the federal election watchers being dispersed across the country. There might be 2,000-3,000 in answer to that, from the state's perspectives. So they really are. This is a hopeful sign, you all. There really is very serious concerted work being done across the states, not just blue states. This is period, to ensure free and fair elections and to counter these measures and these threats that we see happening, right? The declaration of martial law, we're already being told repeatedly, he cannot outright stop states from being able to hold elections. But the assertion, these executive orders and the assertion of federal officials to go in and try and do something, I think this lawsuit, that was a very, very smart move. Been saying forever, this is chess, it ain't checkers. And so that was a really good move. All right. Let's see. Last thing. Moratoriums on AI data centers. Now, we have the, prayers for our fellow citizens in Gary, Indiana, and other places in Indiana. We've heard now, finally, the, major news outlets started covering this story. So apparently there was a really bad storm in Indiana on August 11th. The almost entire swath of Gary, Indiana, 85% Black, out without power. Still a lot of the residents, like tens of thousands of residents without power as of this is August 21st, right? So 10 days and counting without power. And it's being attributed because apparently Indiana and that area is where there are a lot of data centers. So we know these data centers cause tremendous strain on the power grids, and depending on the strength of these power grids and the infrastructure in some of the states, that's why we're seeing this happen. And so there's a lot of stuff. Of course, we've got the doomsayers on lighting up social media saying everybody's next. Go get a generator. Blah 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 blah. But what it's also doing politically, again, relating things to the midterms, is you've got more even GOP folk, interestingly, in what we know is going to be a powerful race out of Michigan between Abdul El-Sayed and what's this guy's name? Sometimes I think I try to block it out. Mike Rogers, the GOP candidate for Senate, running against Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan. So this guy Rogers comes out and says he's in favor now of a moratorium in Michigan on AI data centers, right? Until questions can be answered. All right. So are we going to see more candidates in the GOP platform start to backtrack in their what had been full throttle support for AI data centers? The magician trying to be crafty with it. They see, as much as they're trying to dog, communist Red Scare, the progressive movement, this is an indication from someone like Rogers, and it will grow, that they see where people's sentiments are, where voter sentiments are. So they're going to try and start talking that talk. Kathy Hochul did it a while back, calling on getting the moratorium in New York. Three of Pentacles. A growth and collaborative movement within the GOP to address AI and the strains on infrastructure, on power grids around the nation. They're going to start singing a different song about that and try to appear like they're ready to protect people. Meanwhile, Spirit, are we going to see more major blackouts as a result of the drain on resources? The Hangman, Seven of Wands, and the Hermit. I think what this is showing you all is we're going to see a scramble by electric companies and those who run systems, power grids, maintain power grids. There's an assessment and a pause. Some of this is an actual pause, a moratorium on AI data centers that we're going to see. But also this Seven of Wands is, they don't want to lose the money. All of this is about all of this money that AI in general has promised and propped up the economy and the markets. We know that. So this is an effort to try and appear, GOP trying to appear that they're still championing it, but let's do it slower. Let's figure out how to hermit work being done, dedicated analysis, facetiously, quoting Mike Rogers out of Michigan, talking about we need answers. Well, that is part of the hermit's energy, that there's going to be a closer assessment by electric companies and boards to sustain or improve infrastructure, not to eliminate the potential for these data centers. They want the money, but to make sure that there aren't these major blackouts like we're seeing in Indiana. And there's the Four of Swords confirming that. The clarity that they need around it, the slowdown. Wait a minute. Do we even know the real impact that, do we even know the extent to which our power grids can withstand, like how much can they withstand? And they don't. Knight of Swords, movement of electric energy, and the Queen of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. I don't know who this Queen of Cups is, but it could very well be there's someone in the political spectrum who's going to champion and be really vocal on that vocal Ace of Swords. So this is definitely having a ripple effect that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party clearly that this has become an issue across the board for and based on this real life example of what's happened in Indiana, that this cannot spread. Now, to close out, I do want to see, Spirit, will Indiana get the relief that it needs to get them back online? I mean, this is inhumane. Inhumane. I mean, I'm in Florida, and it's been a while. Thank God, please. It's been a while since I've experienced a really bad hurricane where power was out for several days. And I'm going to tell you, by day 2 or 3, no flushing toilets, no gas, can't use your card to go shop, go get something you need cash on. Like, it gets bad, and it wears on you. Spirit, are we going to see relief for Indiana now that the news has really caught on? There's this Queen of Cups come back, and you saw me shuffle. I don't know if there's a female in the state of Indiana that's really championing it. And look what else came back, the Seven of Wands. Yes. It's not an open, and the Hierophant, the government stepping in, state and local governments. What's really interesting as well, though, many of us have seen in times gone by that when a state or an area has major outages like that, you see other states begin to go in and send crews. Like, that just didn't happen here. What a shame. What an absolute despicable shame. But yes, Hierophant. Now that this story is breaking, and now that it's gone beyond anything that can even be reasonably explained, like 10 days and counting, and nothing has been done to completely restore this power, I think there will be more of an active involvement based on whoever this Queen of Cups is, or at least her helping to get it going. Last thing I said I was going to start doing, and thank you for the person who made the suggestion. I'm going to start, it's maybe not every reading, but closing out with more good news. Talking about our chins up and our shoulders back, right? So there's an interesting development out of D.C., of all places, occupied by the National Guard. This guy, his name is Carl Androulet. Anyway, he's a software engineer, young guy. I think he's only like 30 years old. He came up with an idea to put the word out for DC residents to meet up in a park and just share an apple. Like something whimsical, right? That's what they're saying. Something whimsical. Show up, let's share an apple, get to know one another, in a healthy way or whatever. And I guess the apple is also the signal that you're here for this event, and just basically grow community and start talking with one another. So they said he and his wife thought there might be, like, at the most, when they started putting out the word about this, maybe 20, 30, 100 people might show up. Well, apparently up to 6,500 people have responded, and in their first event there were hundreds and hundreds of people showing up at this Meridian Hill Park, also known as Malcolm X Park. I love that it got so large that they started getting a little like, whoa, we're gonna, like, can we hold everybody? So it really took off. They are planning more events, like maybe bring another item, but gathering around essentially the sense of community, where I also think this is important, even though it's not being billed as a political event at all. But you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of people, potentially thousands, gathering around a social event. You're going to tell me politics is not going to be discussed. You're going to tell me people are not going to get to know one another and collaborate with one another and build community politically as well. All right. I hope you have a great weekend. I appreciate you. And I'm going to start my Let's Talk Tuesdays live, maybe even this Tuesday. My schedule has just been super busy, and I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but I haven't forgotten about that. I'm going to start going live and hang out with you guys once a week. All right? In the meantime, chins up, shoulders back. Thank goodness, DNC, like, come on, wake up, snap out of it, do something. Shoulders back, keep coming from our hearts. Eat some apples with your neighbors if that's what's up, right? Sky above us and earth beneath us. All right? I'll talk to you a little later. Take care out there. Bye.